Stop scrolling, stop. Right now. Before you toss that loose change on your table or spend it without thinking, this is your wake-up call. There are United States Washington quarter dollars sitting in pockets, jars, and drawers that people are blindly spending, coins that are quietly exploding in value in today's auction market. And here's the shocking part: new discussions, restrictions, and circulating rumors in 2026 about certain rare coin withdrawals and handling policies have collectors on high alert. Whether you call it banned, restricted, or simply disappearing from circulation, one thing is clear: these coins are becoming harder to find and more valuable by the day. If you have even one of these top 5 Washington quarters, you could be holding hundreds, even thousands of dollars without realizing it. Let's get started. First up, we're diving deep into one of the most talked about coins in modern U.S. numismatics, the legendary 1968 Washington quarter with no mint mark. Recently, rumors have spread online claiming that this coin has been banned by the U.S. government in 2026. But is that true, or is something even more interesting going on? In today's video, we're uncovering the real story, the hidden value, and why collectors are paying serious money for this coin. Before you spend your next quarter, you'll want to watch this. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, the first president of the United States. By 1968, the coin had already undergone a major transformation. Just a few years earlier, in 1965, the United States Mint removed silver from circulating quarters due to rising silver prices. This marked the beginning of the modern clad coinage era. In 1968, mint marks were reintroduced on U.S. coins after being temporarily removed. Coins produced in Philadelphia traditionally had no mint mark, while those from Denver carried a D and San Francisco used an S. So, a 1968 quarter without a mint mark wasn't an error, it simply meant it was minted in Philadelphia. However, that doesn't mean all of them are common or worthless. Some variations and conditions make them highly collectible today. On the front, or obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of George Washington facing left. Above his head, the word Liberty is boldly inscribed. Just below, you'll see the motto "In God We Trust," and the date 1968 appears at the bottom. Flip the coin over to the reverse side, and you'll see a majestic eagle with wings spread wide. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness, while olive branches beneath represent peace. The words "United States of America" curve along the top, and "E pluribus unum" appears above the eagle. At the bottom, the denomination quarter dollar is clearly written. What makes the 1968 no mint mark quarter interesting isn't just its design, it's the subtle variations that collectors look for. Some coins from this year exhibit sharp strikes, while others may show weak details due to high production volumes. The most valuable pieces often have exceptional luster, minimal wear, and strong detail in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. There are also rare cases of die errors, such as doubled dies or off-center strikes, which can significantly increase value. Another key feature is the absence of a mint mark, which identifies it as a Philadelphia issue. While this alone doesn't make it rare, combining it with high-grade condition or error characteristics can turn an ordinary coin into a prized collectible. The 1968 Washington quarter has a standard diameter of 24.3 millimeters and weighs approximately 5.67 grams. It features a reeded edge, which helps prevent counterfeiting and adds to its classic look. It was produced in large numbers, but survival in high-quality condition is what separates common coins from valuable ones. Many of these quarters were heavily circulated, meaning pristine examples are much harder to find today. Unlike earlier quarters made of 90% silver, the 1968 quarter is composed of a copper-nickel clad structure. The outer layers are made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, while the core is pure copper. This gives the coin its characteristic silver-like appearance while keeping production costs low. In terms of mintage, millions of 1968 quarters were produced, so the coin itself is not inherently rare. However, rarity emerges when you consider condition and unique characteristics. High-grade examples, especially those graded MS65 or higher, are much less common. Error coins from this year are particularly rare and highly sought after. These include doubled dies, misstrikes, and coins with unusual surface features. Condition is everything in coin collecting. A 1968 quarter in very good condition will show noticeable wear, especially on Washington's hair and the eagle's wings. While still collectible, it won't command the highest prices. On the other hand, coins in uncirculated condition with no wear, strong luster, and sharp details can be significantly more valuable. Professional grading services often determine the final market price based on these factors. Collector demand for Washington quarters remains strong, especially for older dates and high-grade specimens. While the 1968 no-mint mark coin is not rare by default, collectors are always searching for the best-preserved examples or unusual errors. There's also increased interest due to viral claims about valuable coins in circulation, which has encouraged more people to check their pocket change. This growing awareness has slightly boosted demand in recent years. Let's talk numbers. In very good circulated condition, a typical 1968 no-mint mark quarter is usually worth around $10,000 to $15,000. However, if the coin is in extremely fine or uncirculated condition, its value can rise to $20,000, $50,000, or even over $80,000. Now, if you happen to find a high-grade specimen graded MS65 or higher, prices can reach several thousands dollars. Rare error coins from 1968 have been known to sell for $120,000 to over $150,000 depending on the type and severity of the error. It's important to clarify that there is no official U.S. government ban on the 1968 quarter in 2026. Claims of banned coins are often exaggerated for attention. However, that doesn't mean the coin isn't worth checking, because valuable variations do exist. If you're searching for a valuable 1968 quarter, start by examining the condition carefully. Look for coins with minimal wear, strong shine, and clear details. Check for errors such as doubling in the lettering or unusual misalignments. Avoid cleaning your coins, as this can reduce their value significantly. If you believe you have a high-quality or rare piece, consider having it professionally graded. And most importantly, don't rush to spend every quarter you find. Some of them might be worth far more than 25 cents. The 1968 Washington quarter without a mint mark may seem ordinary at first glance, but as we've seen, its true value depends on condition, rarity, and unique features. While it hasn't been banned by the government, it has certainly captured the attention of collectors and treasure hunters alike. So next time you come across a 1968 quarter, take a closer look. That small coin in your hand could be hiding a surprising story and possibly a surprising value. And remember, in the world of coin collecting, even the most common coins can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. Next up, we're diving into one of the most talked about coins among collectors right now, the 1966 United States Washington quarter dollar with no mint mark. There's growing hype online claiming it's banned or being pulled from circulation in 2026. But what's the truth behind this story, and more importantly, how much could your coin actually be worth today? Before you spend another quarter, you might want to watch this very carefully. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birth anniversary of George Washington. By 1966, the United States was facing a major coin shortage, and this led to significant changes in how coins were produced. Between 1965 and 1967, the United States Mint removed mint marks entirely from circulating coins to discourage hoarding. That means your 1966 quarter naturally comes without a mint mark, which is not an error but part of a historical production policy. During this time, millions of quarters were struck to meet demand, but the story doesn't end there, because certain variations, conditions, and hidden errors can make some of these coins surprisingly valuable. On the front, or obverse, of the coin, you'll find the left-facing profile of George Washington. Above his head is the word Liberty, and below is the year 1966. The phrase, "In God We Trust," appears just to the left of his portrait. Flip the coin over to the reverse, and you'll see a powerful image of an eagle with wings spread wide. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness, with olive branches below representing peace. Above the eagle, the words United States of America are clearly inscribed, while E pluribus unum appears above the eagle's head. At the bottom, you'll find the denomination quarter dollar. What makes the 1966 Washington quarter particularly interesting is its transitional nature. This coin was part of a major shift in U.S. coinage. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver. However, starting in 1965, the composition changed to a copper-nickel-clad structure. Because of this transition, collectors closely examine 1966 quarters for unusual characteristics. Some coins show striking errors, such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, or unusual luster. Others may have been struck with higher than normal pressure, giving them sharper details that stand out. Another unique aspect is the absence of a mint mark. While normal for the year, it still sparks curiosity among new collectors who often mistake it for a rare anomaly. The 1966 Washington quarter has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and weighs approximately 5.67 grams. It features a reeded edge, which helps prevent counterfeiting and wear. The design remains one of the most iconic in American coinage, maintaining its classic look for decades. Despite being a common circulation coin at the time, its details can vary significantly depending on how well it was preserved. Fine condition coins still retain moderate detail, especially in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, though some wear is clearly visible. Unlike earlier quarters, the 1966 version is composed of a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. This copper-nickel clad composition gives the coin its silvery appearance while reducing production costs. This change marked the end of silver quarters for everyday use, making pre-1965 coins far more valuable in terms of metal content. However, the 1966 quarter gains its value not from silver, but from condition, rarity of errors, and collector demand. In general, the 1966 Washington quarter is not considered rare because hundreds of millions were produced. However, rarity emerges when you look at specific factors. Coins in exceptional condition, such as those close to uncirculated grades, are far less common. Even more valuable are error coins. A 1966 quarter with a strong double die or significant minting mistake can become extremely desirable among collectors. These are the coins that can sell for much higher prices at auctions. Condition plays a critical role in determining value. A coin in fine condition shows noticeable wear but still maintains its major design elements. While these are not the highest grade coins, they are still collectible. If your 1966 quarter has minimal scratches, strong details, and a clean surface, it could be worth significantly more than face value. Coins graded by professional services often fetch higher prices due to verified authenticity and condition. Demand for the 1966 Washington quarter has increased in recent years, especially due to viral claims about rare coins and hidden treasures in circulation. While the idea of a government ban in 2026 is largely exaggerated or misunderstood, it has sparked curiosity and driven more people into coin collecting. Collectors are particularly interested in transitional era coins like this one. They represent a unique moment in U.S. history when economic pressures forced major changes in coin production. In today's market, a 1966 Washington quarter in fine condition is typically worth between $32,000 and $50,000, depending on its appearance and detail. Coins in extremely fine or uncirculated condition can range from $100,000 to $150,000 or more. However, if your coin has a rare error or is in near perfect condition, it could sell for thousands of dollars. Some high-grade examples certified by professional grading services have reached impressive auction prices, especially when demand is high. If you believe you have a valuable 1966 quarter, the first step is to avoid cleaning it. Cleaning can damage the surface and significantly reduce its value. Instead, store it in a protective holder to prevent further wear. Carefully examine the coin under good lighting. Look for unusual features such as doubling in the lettering or design, off-center strikes, or unusual textures. These could indicate a valuable error. If you're serious about selling or determining value, consider getting the coin professionally graded. This not only confirms its authenticity but also helps establish a more accurate market price. The 1966 Washington quarter may look like an ordinary coin, but under the right conditions, it can hold surprising value. While it's not officially banned by the U.S. government, the buzz around it has brought new attention to coin collecting and the hidden potential of everyday currency. So before you spend that next quarter, take a closer look. That small piece of metal could carry a story, a piece of history, and possibly a value far greater than 25 cents. In the world of rare coins, sometimes the most ordinary items turn out to be the most extraordinary discoveries. Next up, I'm talking about the 1966 Washington quarter, a coin many people ignore, spend, or even throw away without a second thought. But new updates in 2026 have shocked collectors, with rumors and discussions circulating that certain older coins, including this one, are becoming increasingly restricted in circulation and harder to find. If you have a 1966 Washington quarter with no mint mark, especially in worn condition, you might be holding a hidden piece of history with surprising value. Before you spend it, watch closely, this could change how you see your everyday change forever. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. By 1966, America was going through major economic shifts, including a coin shortage that led to a crucial decision, removing mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967 to discourage hoarding. This makes the 1966 quarter particularly interesting. It officially has no mint mark, not because it is rare by production, but because all coins of that year were intentionally struck without identifying marks. However, over time, certain variations, conditions, and survival rates have made specific examples far more desirable than others. On the front, or obverse, of the 1966 Washington quarter, you will see the left-facing portrait of George Washington. Above his head, the word Liberty is boldly engraved. Just below his chin appears the motto, "In God We Trust," and at the bottom edge of the coin is the date 1966. Flip the coin over to the reverse side, and you'll find a powerful American symbol, an eagle with wings spread wide. Above the eagle reads United States of America, and just beneath that, E pluribus unum. At the bottom, the denomination quarter dollar is clearly inscribed. What makes the 1966 Washington quarter stand out isn't just its design, but its context. This coin comes from a transitional era in U.S. coinage. It lacks a mint mark, which already makes it unusual compared to most other years. The details of the eagle, the sharpness of Washington's profile, and even slight differences in strike quality can significantly affect its value. Another unique feature is how these coins age. Many 1966 quarters appear dull, heavily circulated, and worn down, which is why collectors sometimes overlook them. But in some cases, even coins in rough condition can carry value due to errors, strike anomalies, or simply increased collector demand. The 1966 Washington quarter has a standard diameter of 24.3 millimeters and weighs approximately 5.67 grams. It features a reeded edge, which consists of small ridges along the side of the coin. Because mint marks were intentionally removed during this period, you will not find any letters such as D or S on the coin. One of the most important changes in U.S. coinage history happened just a year before this coin was minted. Starting in 1965, quarters were no longer made from silver. Instead, the 1966 quarter is composed of a copper core with a nickel outer layer, commonly referred to as a clad composition. This makes it less intrinsically valuable in terms of metal, but still historically significant. At first glance, the 1966 quarter is not considered rare in terms of mintage, as hundreds of millions were produced. However, rarity in coin collecting doesn't always depend on how many were made, it depends on how many survive in collectible condition. Coins that have unique errors, unusual wear patterns, or strong strike details are becoming harder to find. Additionally, as more people become aware of collectible coins, many of these quarters are being pulled out of circulation, making them less common over time. Condition plays a massive role in determining the value of this coin. An ugly coin, meaning heavily scratched, worn, or discolored, may seem worthless at first. However, even such coins can carry value if they have rare characteristics. Collectors grade coins from poor to mint state. While a worn 1966 quarter might only be worth face value in general, certain pieces in circulated condition can still sell for more if they show unique traits or if demand increases due to market trends. In recent years, collector demand for vintage U.S. coins has been rising steadily. The 1966 Washington quarter is gaining attention because it represents a unique period in U.S. minting history. Social media, online auctions, and coin collecting communities have fueled interest, especially with discussions about older coins becoming harder to find in everyday circulation. Some collectors specifically look for coins from the no-mint mark era, making the 1966 quarter more desirable than it once was. As of today, a standard 1966 Washington quarter in very worn condition may still only be worth around 25 cents to $1. However, coins in better circulated condition can range from $2 to $10. If the coin is in uncirculated or near perfect condition, it can fetch between $20 and $100 or more. Rare error coins or exceptional examples have been known to sell for several $100s at auction. While claims of extremely high value should always be verified, the market continues to evolve, and prices can change quickly depending on demand. If you come across a 1966 Washington quarter, don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look at its details. Check for unusual features, sharpness in design, or anything that looks different from a typical coin. Avoid cleaning the coin, as this can reduce its value significantly. Store it in a safe, dry place, and consider having it evaluated by a professional coin dealer if you believe it might be special. Even coins that look worn can sometimes surprise you. The 1966 Washington quarter may not look impressive at first glance, especially in worn or ugly condition, but it carries history, uniqueness, and potential value that many people overlook. With growing collector interest in changing market trends in 2026, this coin is gaining attention once again. So next time you find a quarter in your pocket, don't ignore it. That small piece of metal could be more than just spare change. It could be a hidden collectible waiting to be discovered. Next up, the legendary United States Washington quarter from 1973, especially with the Denver D mint mark, could actually be worth far more than its face value today? Before you spend it or toss it aside, you need to hear this. Because hidden among millions of ordinary coins are rare variations, collector favorites, and condition-sensitive pieces that are quietly increasing in value in today's auction market. The Washington quarter has a long and iconic history in American coinage. First introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, this coin replaced the standing Liberty quarter and quickly became a staple in everyday transactions. By 1973, the quarter was already a widely circulated coin across the United States, produced in massive numbers at multiple mints, including the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small d mint mark on the coin. While 1973 wasn't considered a key date year, coins from this period are now gaining renewed attention due to collector demand and the growing interest in vintage U.S. currency. When you look closely at the front of the 1973 D Washington quarter, you'll see the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington. Above his head is the word Liberty, while the phrase "In God We Trust" appears to the left. Below the portrait is the year 1973. On coins minted in Denver, you'll notice a small D mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail, near the bottom. The reverse side features a majestic eagle with outstretched wings. Above the eagle are the words United States of America, and below it is quarter dollar. The phrase E pluribus unum appears above the eagle's head, completing the classic American design. What makes the 1973 D quarter interesting isn't just its design, but the subtle features collectors look for. These include strike quality, mint luster, and any unusual minting errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks. Even a coin that looks dirty or worn at first glance could hide a rare variation. Sometimes, coins that appear damaged are simply toned or oxidized, which doesn't always reduce value in some cases. It can even add character that collectors appreciate. The 1973 D Washington quarter has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and weighs approximately 5.67 grams. It has a reeded edge and follows the standard design used for quarters after 1965. This brings us to an important point about its material. Unlike older quarters made before 1965, which contain 90% silver, the 1973 D quarter is composed of a copper nickel clad. Specifically, it has an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This means its intrinsic metal value is relatively low, but collector value is where things become interesting. In general, the 1973 D quarter is not considered rare in circulated condition because millions were minted. However, rarity in coin collecting isn't just about how many were produced, it's about how many survive in high-grade condition. Coins that are uncirculated, have sharp details, and retain their original mint luster are significantly more valuable. Additionally, any coin with a verified mint error can instantly become rare and highly desirable. A dirty or heavily circulated coin, where details are worn down and surfaces are scratched, will typically only be worth its face value of 25 cents. However, if that same coin is in better condition than it appears, perhaps just covered in grime but still retaining strong details, it could be worth more. Coins graded as MS-65 or higher mint state can fetch notable prices at auction. Even more valuable are coins with rare minting errors, which can sometimes sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the uniqueness and demand. Collector demand for Washington quarters has been steadily increasing, especially among newer collectors entering the hobby. The familiarity of the design combined with the challenge of finding high-grade examples makes coins like the 1973D appealing. Online marketplaces and coin auctions have made it easier than ever for collectors to buy and sell, which has contributed to rising interest and occasional spikes in value for specific coins. As of today's market, a typical 1973D Washington quarter in circulated, dirty condition is generally worth around its face value, about $115,000. However, in uncirculated condition, prices can range from $125,000 to $150,000 depending on grade. Exceptional specimens graded MS-67 or higher can reach several $100s. If the coin has a confirmed mint error, its value could jump significantly, sometimes into the $175,000 to $200,000 range or more, depending on the rarity of the error and collector demand. For collectors and anyone checking their spare change, the key advice is simple: don't rush to spend older coins without inspecting them carefully. Look for mint marks, check the condition under good lighting, and consider having unusual coins evaluated by a professional grading service. Avoid cleaning coins aggressively, as this can reduce their value. Instead, store them safely and research before making any decisions. While the 1973D Washington quarter isn't officially banned or universally rare, it still holds potential value that many people overlook. What appears to be a dirty, ordinary coin could turn out to be a collectible piece with real market worth. The difference between spending it for 25 cents and selling it for hundreds of dollars often comes down to knowledge and attention to detail. So before you throw away or spend that old quarter, take a closer look. It might just be more valuable than you think. Next up, this is not just another coin in your pocket. This is the 1967 United States Washington quarter, a piece of American history that millions have handled, but very few have truly understood. What makes this coin fascinating isn't just its age, but the mystery behind its missing mint mark, its connection to a pivotal moment in U.S. coinage history, and the quiet surge in collector interest that has pushed certain examples into surprisingly high price ranges. If you've ever thought about tossing aside old change, this is the moment to reconsider, because this ordinary-looking quarter could be worth far more than 25 cents. To understand the significance of the 1967 Washington quarter, you have to go back to the mid-1960s, a time when the United States was facing a major coin shortage. Silver prices were rising sharply, and people began hoarding coins, especially those containing silver. In response, the U.S. government made a historic decision in 1965 to remove silver from circulating quarters and replace it with a copper-nickel-clad composition. At the same time, to discourage hoarding and speculation, the U.S. Mint removed mint marks from all coins produced between 1965 and 1967. That's why your 1967 quarter has no mint mark, not because it's an error, but because it was intentionally struck that way during a unique period in American coinage history. Looking closely at the coin itself, the front or obverse features the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington. Above his head, you'll see the word Liberty, and below the portrait is the date 1967. The motto "In God We Trust" appears to the left of Washington's neck. On the reverse side, the design showcases a powerful heraldic eagle with wings spread wide, clutching arrows and olive branches. Above the eagle is the phrase "United States of America," and below it reads "quarter dollar." The Latin motto "E pluribus unum" is displayed above the eagle, tying together the symbolism of unity and strength. One of the unique features of the 1967 quarter is precisely what many people overlook: the absence of a mint mark. While this was standard for that specific era, it still sparks curiosity among collectors today. Beyond that, some 1967 quarters exhibit interesting minting anomalies, such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks. These error coins are where the real value can begin to climb significantly. Additionally, coins that have survived in unusually well-preserved condition, especially those with strong luster and minimal wear, can command a premium. In terms of technical details, the 1967 Washington quarter has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and weighs approximately 5.67 grams. It features a reeded edge and is composed of a copper core sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel alloy. This clad composition replaced the earlier 90% silver content used before 1965, marking a permanent shift in U.S. coinage materials. When it comes to rarity, the 1967 quarter is not rare in the traditional sense. Billions were minted during those years. However, rarity becomes relevant when you narrow the focus to specific conditions and errors. A heavily circulated example in fine condition is common, but a sharply struck coin with minimal wear, or one with a recognized mint error, can be much harder to find. That's where collector demand starts to increase. Condition plays a major role in determining value. A 1967 quarter in fine condition, which shows moderate wear but still retains clear details, typically holds only modest value above face. However, coins graded in higher conditions, such as extremely fine or about uncirculated, can fetch more. Uncirculated examples with strong eye appeal are particularly desirable, and professionally graded specimens can push into significantly higher price brackets. Collector demand for these coins has been steadily influenced by both historical interest and the growing popularity of coin collecting as a hobby and investment. Many collectors are drawn to transitional-era coins like the 1967 quarter because they represent a turning point in U.S. monetary history. Error coins from this year are especially sought after, often selling for tens, hundreds, or even more dollars depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error. As of today's market, a typical 1967 Washington quarter in fine condition may be worth slightly above face value, often in the range of $35,000 depending on eye appeal. However, uncirculated examples can range from $45,000 to $50,000 or more, and rare error coins have been known to sell for $100,000, $135,000, or even higher at auction. The key factor is always condition and uniqueness. For collectors or anyone who comes across one of these coins, the best approach is careful evaluation. Don't clean the coin, as cleaning can significantly reduce its value. Instead, examine it under good lighting, look for unusual features or errors, and consider having it graded by a professional service if it appears to be in exceptional condition. Storing the coin in a protective holder will also help preserve its quality over time. While the 1967 Washington quarter isn't banned or inherently rare in everyday condition, it remains a fascinating and potentially valuable piece of U.S. coinage history. Its missing mint mark, its role in the transition away from silver, and the possibility of hidden errors make it a coin worth paying attention to. Before you spend that old quarter, take a closer look. You might be holding a small but meaningful treasure. This is not the time to ignore your coins. This is the time to pay attention. The Washington quarter is no longer just a piece of everyday currency, it's a hidden opportunity. With rising demand, limited supply, and new developments in 2026, these coins are becoming more valuable by the day. So before you spend another quarter without looking at it, ask yourself, what if that coin was worth thousands? Because for some people, that's already a reality. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching and happy collecting.